Types of force. Introduction. Hello friends, my name is Samruddhi Meshwari, class 4. Today we are going to see types of force. Let's start. Introduction. Force is a push or a pull on an object. We have seen in different effects of a force on an object, such as moving, stopping, speeding up and slowing down, as well as changing its direction or shape. We are now going to learn about the different types of force. Contact force. Activities such as kicking a ball or pushing a cart require us to touch the ball and the cart. The force that need direct physical contact with the object is applied on a call contact force. Two examples of contact force are muscular force and frictional force. Muscular force. When we lift, carry, push or pull something, we use muscular force. This is the force that our body apply on object through movement of our muscular. Muscular force. Frictional force. When two surfaces are in contact with each other and are moving against each other, the force between them that opposite motion is called frictional force of friction. Non-contact force. Contact with the object it is applied on is called a non-contact force. Two examples of non-contact force are gravitational force and magnetic force. Gravitational force. You have earlier learned about the force of gravity. It is the force inside the earth that pulls something towards its gravity, acts on every object on the earth irrespective of its size or weight. Magnetic force. When you place a magnet near object made up of certain magnetic materials such as iron and steel, it is it is attracts those objects towards itself. The force with which a magnet attracts object without touching them. It known as magnetic force. Then next, frictional force. Introduction. Have you ever wondered why your palms heat up when we rub them against each other for a while? Why do the soles of our shoes become thinner and wear out after a few months of using them? All of these things happen due to friction. Let us see that friction force is. What is friction? Friction is a force that is created when two surfaces move or try to move against each other. The friction force between two surface work in the direction opposite to that is motion. In other words, it slows down the motion between the object or surface. Factors affecting friction. The amount of friction between two objects is depending on the following two factors. The surface. Try to side a coin against a smooth surface, such as table, and then against a rough surface, such as a concrete, pavement, or a road. When what do you observe? You will notice that the coin slide easily against the table while it is more difficult to slide it across a road or a pavement. The next, this is because the friction between the two surfaces depend on the texture of the surface. Rough surface create a high amount of friction, while smooth surface create less friction. Then next, why do rough surface create more friction? If we would zoom into the surface of an object, we will see that the has many required rough surface have more irregularities than smooth surface. When two surfaces move against one another, in irregularities move in both surfaces unlock the slowing down motion. The next, amount of force between the surface. Imagine dragging a cart or the one across a floor. Would it be erased to drag an empty cart or one that is full of heavy objects? It is easier to drag an empty cart on the floor compared to a full cart. This is because friction depends on the force with which the two surfaces is pressed together. Heavy object press more than light object. Ingularities are more tightly interlocked for heavier object, which create more friction. Effects of friction. Friction has different effects in different classes. Let us see what they are. Friction generates heat. When we rub our palms together, we feel some warmth or heat between them. This is because the friction between the surface or a palm when they are rubbed together generates heat. Another example of this is a matchstick. Between stuck against the matchbox, the friction between the surface generates heat, which result in a spark that lights the match. Ma'am, starting. Friction causes wear and tear. You may have noticed that as your shoes become old, their soles become thinner. This happens because when we walk or run, the friction between our shoes and the ground cause wear and tear of the shoes. Additionally, you must have seen tears losing their traits. The size of an erase getting smaller, and pencil tips become smaller with use. The all these are due to the wear and tear effect of friction. Shoes worn out due to friction. Friction in our daily lives. Friction our daily lives. Friction plays an important role in our daily life. It can be an advantage or a disadvantage depending on a situation. Advantage of friction, disadvantage of friction. Advantage, advantage of friction. Friction can be helpful in the following situation. We can walk properly due to friction. If frictional frictional force did not exist, we would be spilling and sliding across surface inside the walking on them. We can drive vehicles on the roads due to friction. It would be difficult for the types of vehicles to grip and road without frictions. Friction between the brake pads and the treads of vehicles help slow down or stop the vehicle. The next friction that has disadvantage in some situation. Friction causes wear and tear in machines and vehicles, which mean we need to keep replaying the part of servicing the vehicle often. Friction creates heat in machines, which mean we have to use coolants to keep their temperature down. The advantage of friction is based on increased friction. It's situation where friction is useful. There are ways for us to increase it. One of the way of increase friction is increase the roughness of the surface. Example of the include the treads and the grip on the soles of shoes. Threads grip on shoes soles based on increased friction. Then next, disadvantage of friction, ways to reduce friction. Each situation where friction need to be prevented, there are ways for us to decrease it. One way is to increase the smoothness of the surface. This can be done by adding oil on grease. This process is known as lubrication. One example of reducing friction using lubrication is oiling the hide of a door so that it opens smoothly. Lubrication of the cycle chain. Oiling of door hides. Ways of reduce friction. magnetic force. What is a magnet? A magnet is an object that attracts magnet materials such as iron, steel, and nickel towards itself without physically touching them. The force due to which these particles are attracted to the magnet is known as magnetic force. This force is a non-contact force. Materials or objects that get attracted by a magnet are called magnetic materials. Like poles repels, unlike poles repels. Properties of magnets. Magnets are made of poles. All magnets have a poles at each end, a north pole and south pole. The magnetic force of a magnet is the strongest at its poles. A magnet with a simple pole does not exist. If you break a magnet in half, each half will develop its own north and south poles. B. Like poles repel each other. If two magnets are placed in such a way that both their north pole or south pole face each other, the magnets will move away from each other. This is because like poles repel each other, unlike poles attract each other. Unlike poles attract each other. If we place two magnets in such a way that one magnet's north pole is near the other magnet's south pole, they will move towards each other. This is because unlike poles attract. Thank you. Stay study with me. Think and learn. Bye.